Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, honors, and praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakakwadash. I give double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone for teaching this truth time and time again, showing us to be men of the Lord, and to all other elders teaching like-minded doctrine, showing us brotherhood and love and understanding what we should do in these times, which is what we are, because a lot of things are coming. It's a huge bankruptcy crisis on the U.S. companies. Like, how what happened to the Bed Bath & Beyond. You see all these CEOs killing themselves, just like back in the day when the Great Depression happened, when they just started just jumping from buildings because they couldn't take what was going on. But the Lord has put the Spirit on us. I'm gonna grab a quick scripture, and then we can get into the lesson. I got an article. Bear with me. This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 3. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. Humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor in life. So we're having that because the humility, because the Lord is going to take care of his men, and we're going to get back to that point in the time of evil. But everyone else is going to be bad. So this is in time news. Sometimes they have really good articles. You gotta be being able to read them, and one would know from looking at one would not know from looking at S&P, which just hit its 2003 high, which after have been falling for like 2 years to extreme amounts. Now it's a high, but there is a bit of a bankrupting crisis in the U.S. where companies are filed for bankruptcy at the fastest pace in 13 years. A clear sign of a tightening credit squeeze as interest rate rises and financial markets have locked out all but the strongest borrowers. The increase in the most visible among the large companies were that there were 236 bankruptcies filed in the first 4 months, the first quarter, more than double the 2022 levels, and the fastest YTP pace since 2010, according to the SPM Global Market Intelligence. Several large recognizing companies, hundreds and thousands of workers have filed for bankruptcy protection in the recent weeks. And these are like corporations. So the small businesses, even worse, they're just filing. These are massive conglomerates and companies, including Bed Bath & Beyond, Vice Media. Although the financial trouble predated from the recent economic turmoil, from all those the pandemic causing that, the vid and all that stuff causing these shut down on production and shut down to all this stuff. The bankruptcy do not slow down in May, when just a past week saw 8 companies with more than $500 million in liabilities filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, including 5 in the single 24-hour stretch last week, making this the busiest week in Chapter 11 filing so far this year. In 2022, monthly average was just over 3 filings. So you get the point. I have another article, but let's get into some scriptures real quick, and I'm gonna get this. In the day when this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 3. And the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. And those keepers of the house, these are these economics. Those people that are these what's it called? Hedge fund managers and all these things that control our U.S. economy and also the world economy, because we're going to get into it. That the 13 years is going to you're gonna see that, and a strong man shall and the strong man shall bow themselves. So strong in the wealth, strong in they should file for they're filing for bankruptcy. They're going seeing what's going on with our economics, and the grinding shall cease because they are few. So and that all these filing for bankruptcies, they have to do layoffs. It's been layoffs, hundreds, tens of thousands of jobs just going. So the grind shall cease because the workers are getting few. Those that look out of the window shall be darkened, to see that there's nothing good coming. There's nothing good coming for them because they have trusted in their riches and they have failed. But we have understand. I'm gonna come back to this. That this is Romans chapter 13, verse 11. And that knowing the time that now it's high time to wake out of sleep, for our salvation is nearer than when we believe. So we know that is coming. Like, yeah, we see, economics is falling, which brings forth war. That we know that it's gonna be all good for us. Let me get it real quick. Lord willing, if we have that number. Bear with me, let me double check the scripture. This is what Philippians chapter 4, verse 19. But my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches in glory by Yahweh Shemashah. So the Lord, he said, my servant shall eat. But these wicked niggas and these people, these worldly people, you shall be hungry. And the doors shall be shut in the streets. These doors, the business is going out of business. And when the sound of the grinding is low, all these things, and he shall rise up in the voice of birds, and all the daughters of music shall be brought down low. Yeah, all of them. Like, so you see this mirth, and because this is what as the prophets that went out into the streets preaching, showing us that it's time. Well, when the number, they didn't do anything. They just continued to just do folly, just as in the days of Noah. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days they were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving into marriage, until the day Noah entered into the ark. And they knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So they didn't understand, but they just continued to party, bullshit. So now nobody's gonna have money. The grinding shall be low, and the rise and the voice of the birds and the daughters of music shall be brought down low. That's also going to the music's bad anyway, so it's crappy. Everything's getting worse and worse. And now this mirth is going to be also it's going into that the music is not very good in these days anyway. But like just mirth going into the mirth and this retarded stuff that these Babylonians see, and because all these bankruptcies. I got another article, so bear with me. Because because this is Isaiah chapter, I'm going to start at 19, verse 14. And the Lord shall mingle a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof. So everything is just failing, not the music and everything, they're just failing at trying to do their farm. But even to these businesses, bankruptcy and not accounting from outside and inside. So we're minded that we have a petro economy, a petrodollar. So I'm gonna get into another article real quick after this. As a drunken man staggered in his vomit, they're just failing at everything. It's just, but Babylon has been a golden cup, and they kind of drunk too much of their cup. Neither shall there be any work in Egypt from head to tail. So from these giant corporation businesses to the lowest, the small. Because if you see what's happening to corporations, you already know something's bad happening to these small businesses. Brush and rants may do. So let's get into this other article. News break. Saudi's net reserve fall to fall to $410 billion. Saudi foreign reserves fell to April's lowest in more than 13 years. Just an apparent sign of the kingdom hasn't yet used last year's 326 billion oil windfall to top off the central bank holding. We lose a petrodollar, so this is, other companies are now try to they're signing deals to start buying in different currencies, like the ruble and digital currency. So these currencies are failing. But after this reserve falls to 4.10, net assets fell 1.1.53 trillion rands, and that's their currency, 410 billion last year, according to the central bank monthly report published Sunday, declining for the fifth month and the longest falling streak since 2019, that was the start of the pandemic. Reserves are down more than 44% since the peak in August 2014. The drawback, which reached almost 42 billion since November, fall at a shift how the world's biggest crude exporter manages oil wealth. While higher oil prices and input use quick translation and rising foreign reserves, officials announced a year ago that the kingdom plans to hold on to the money only later to decide how to distribute it. The budget has surpassed and 1.3 billion rands last year, according to the fund, and the government has set a lower and higher bands for the levels of reserves wanted to maintain a shared economic output, according to it. So, when this happens, because wars are literally oil, like you need a lot of fuel because for the machines and all that stuff. So this is holding it back, is really causing them. Is something about that changing currencies, changing all that stuff. All these companies are starting to hate Babylon, hate the war, because Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken their wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. And so Babylon is suddenly going to fall and howl and take balm for her pain, so it shall not be healed. So Babylon's not going to heal. It's falling, ultimately because of the wickedness it has did. But that's also going to cause a lot of, because once this happens, because this is the golden ticket to all these nations. Lament for Babylon, and the kings of the earth who committed fornication with Saudi is a huge one, because this is what they had a, a deal strictly to only sell oil really in U.S. currency and live deliciously with her. So they live delicious. Saudi people, the princes and those that's the one of the richest families, and they got wealth for wealth. And shall bewail and lament for her, and they shall see the smoke of her burning. They're going to see Babylon, the great judgment, and afar, standing far off, the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour the judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth the merchandise anymore. You know? But this is after he gets judged. They're going to see. Because it's still, but it's just still bullshit. But after they get judged, their economy really is. And then weep and mourn, for no man buyeth the merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls. So when Babylon's fallen and all these nations are going to fall, especially when it gets judged, which is the U.S. economy is needed for this system, this beast system to work. And precious stones and pearls and linen, purple, silk, scarlet, and thine wood, and all manners of vessels of ivory, and all manner of vessels of most precious wood, and brass, and iron, and marble, cinnamon. You get the point. But the merchants shall cry over this, the falling of this wicked system. But remember, like, we gonna be good. We see these things. We see the Lord has it, but they all in it because the wickedness Babylon has been doing. This is Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is a servant to the lender. So, but thou shall sow me, but he that soweth iniquity shall reap vanity. So all that, and the rod of his anger shall not shall fail. So, here's what the Lord said it was going to come, the falling of this whole beast system. So with that, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Kakadash, the Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahshua Bashim Kakadash. Shalom.